As China's largest industrial city, Shanghai has always been in the first place, but last year its industrial added value fell to second place at 1.08 trillion yuan, $157.2 billion, 800 million yuan less than Shenzhen, which ranked first. Shanghai's decades-long champion position has been broken. In terms of finance, as of the end of 2022, the total deposit balance of financial institutions in major cities in China, Shanghai's total deposit amount was 19.2293 trillion yuan, $2.799 billion, lower than Beijing's 21.8629 trillion yuan, $3.1824 billion. As China's financial center, Shanghai has the Shanghai Stock Exchange and many financial institutions, but the total deposit amount is no longer in first place. Last year, Shanghai's GDP was 4.4568 trillion yuan, $648.7 billion, ranking first among China's top 10 cities by GDP. However, Shanghai's GDP growth rate was -0.2%, the only negative in the top 10 cities by GDP. From 2012 to 2019, Shanghai was named the most attractive city for foreign talent in China for 8 consecutive years. However, in 2020 and 2021, the title was taken over by Beijing. After months of lockdown and epidemic prevention measures last year, Shanghai's international competitiveness was severely impacted. On February 14, the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China released its latest annual Shanghai Position Paper, which showed that multinational corporations no longer have confidence in setting up headquarters in Shanghai, with only 12% of European businesses willing to set up Asia-Pacific headquarters there. Around 500 Chinese companies have also moved their headquarters to other countries due to the disruption caused by the pandemic. According to the report by the Shanghai branch of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China, approximately 25% of Germans in Shanghai left the city after the lockdown was lifted, while the number of French and Italian citizens in Shanghai decreased by 20% respectively. Dr. Li Songyun, who has long been following the Chinese economy, said, "Shanghai has become the most developed city in China's economy, largely due to its ability to attract foreign investment." However, after the outbreak of the epidemic, especially after several months of lockdown last year, Shanghai's attractiveness to foreign investment has sharply declined, and some foreigners are no longer willing to stay in Shanghai. In addition, the population is declining and aging is worsening, which is a microcosm of the whole of China. Regenerate response. A recent survey shows that the number of non-Shanghainese residents in Shanghai decreased by nearly 260,000 last year. 70% of local residents do not want to have a second child, and Shanghai has entered an aging society. On March 28, the WeChat public account Shanghai Statistics of the Shanghai Bureau of Statistics released the 2022 population survey data. The results show that the permanent resident population in Shanghai in 2022 was 24.759 million, of which the registered permanent resident population was 14.696 million, and the non-registered permanent resident population was 10.063 million. Compared with 2021, the permanent resident population of Shanghai decreased by nearly 135,000 in 2022, and the non-registered permanent resident population decreased by 257,000, while the registered permanent resident population increased slightly. Among the main reasons for non-Shanghainese residents to settle in Shanghai, 71.0% are for work and employment, 10.7% are to follow or rely on relatives and friends, 6.0% are for learning and training, and 5.25% are to take care of grandchildren. Because work and employment is the main reason for non-Shanghainese residents to settle in Shanghai, 88.2% of non-Shanghainese residents are labor force between 15 and 64 years old. Although the Communist Party of China fully lifted the two-child policy in 2016, and the three-child policy in 2021, most families in Shanghai still have only one child. In the question about the ideal number of children in the survey, 58.5% of permanent residents in Shanghai said they only want one child, including 70.8% of registered permanent residents in Shanghai and 45.0% of non-registered permanent residents. 36.7% want 2 children, and only 2.6% want 3 children. 2.3% do not want children. In the main reasons for not planning to have children, the next child, 41.8% chose satisfied with the current situation, 28.5% believed that the cost of raising children is high and the economic burden is heavy, and the third reason was age or health reasons, accounting for 13%. The elderly aged 60 and above in Shanghai accounted for 25.0% of the total permanent population, an increase of 1.0% compared to the previous year. The elderly aged 65 and above, including 65, accounted for 18.7% of the total permanent population, an increase of 1.3% compared to the previous year. These growth rates are also higher than those in 2021. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics of China, in 2022, the population aged 60 and above, including 60, accounted for 19.8% of the total population of the country, and the population aged 65 and above, including 65, accounted for 14.9% of the total population of the country. These percentages are respectively 5.2% and 3.8% lower than those in Shanghai. According to the internationally recognized standard for aging, when the proportion of the population aged 65 and above reaches 7%, 14%, and 21% of the total population, it is called an aging society, an aged society, and a super-aged society, respectively. Therefore, Shanghai has now entered an aged society. People born in 1963 will turn 60 this year. Pang Zijie, Executive Vice President of the Development Research Institute of Fudan University in Shanghai, recently told the official media outlet Pangpai News that after 1963, China has had compensatory birth peaks for many years, and this group will begin to enter old age from this year, so the aging rate will increase faster in the future.